In this example, we have ourselves a function f of x, and we would like to find its derivative. And I've gone ahead and included a couple of derivative rules that you typically would find in the front cover of your calculus book. And so if you would like to pause the video and try to find the derivative real quick, then come on back and we'll work it together. Okay, so it looks like in our function f of x, we have two terms here. We have ourselves an arcsine of x, which that derivative rule is right here. And then we have an x times the square root with a little function underneath here. So it looks like we're going to use product rule with chain rule. And you can see that possibly this derivative of the square root here with the function underneath would be helpful as well. So let's go ahead and look at this arcsine first. And so our rule says the derivative of arcsine of, and we have this function u inside here. And in our case, the u is just going to be an x. So our f prime of x equals, and so it's u prime over. Okay, so it's going to be a fraction, and u prime, so it's just the derivative of x right here, and that's just going to be 1 over, and we have this square root, and it's 1 minus u squared. And again, our u is x, so it'll be 1 minus x squared. Okay, well that's that first part. That's not too bad at all. And we're going to be subtracting. I'll go ahead and put these parentheses here because we know we're going to have product rule with chain rule. Okay, so the product rule first says the derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second. So let's go ahead and do that. So it's going to be the derivative of the first. So the derivative of x is just 1. So we're just going to have this 1 minus x squared plus, and now it's the first times the derivative of the second. Okay, so the derivative here of this square root is going to be given by this rule. So it looks like in this case our u is 1 minus x squared. So when we're talking about this u prime, we're talking about the derivative of 1 minus x squared, which will be just negative 2x, because the derivative of 1, that's just a constant, so it goes away. And the derivative of this power here, we bring the power out front, multiply, so negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Take 1 from the power, so just x. Over now, our rule says twice, and then just the square root. So twice, and just the square root. Okay, so here's what this will look like for the first step. And it looks like we have our work cut out for us for a little bit of simplification here, and it won't be too bad at all. So looking right here, it seems like we can go ahead and cancel those 2's. So this first term will come on down, so there we go. We have minus when we distribute that negative, so it'll be subtracting that guy right there, and the minus will also distribute here, but we have the negative here, so this negative with this negative will cause it to be an addition. And we have the x times the x, so that'll be x squared over, and then our denominator. Okay, well it looks like we have some nice things here, because this denominator and this denominator actually match, so they're common denominators already. So let's just go ahead and put those together, and then we'll deal with this last term. So we have 1 plus x squared over that common denominator. And then we have minus, and then we have this same radical expression here, but this time it's over 1. So if we're going to get common denominators here, let's go ahead and multiply the top and the bottom by that common denominator. And you'll see some nice things are going to happen in the numerator because we have a minus, sure, but these radicands underneath here are the same expressions, so when we multiply them, the radical will just go away. So we have 1 plus x squared minus, and then that radicand, all over our common denominator. Okay, so let's go ahead and distribute that negative through. So I have 1 plus x squared minus 1 plus x squared, all over that denominator. So finally then, it looks like our first derivative will end up being, let's see, 1 minus 1, so those 1's will cancel. X squared plus x squared will be 2x squared over that denominator that we had. Okay, so here, in fact, is our first derivative. given our original function that included the arcsine and then x times this square root expression.